Uy, guys, pa-help naman mag-share, please. Okay, hello everyone. I am Emma Diego. So we're currently live at Startup Academy. So I am very excited today because I have a special guest. But before that, I just want everyone to please share the link or share this stream because today we're going to be talking about Giseli. So this is the game changer in e-commerce. So I want to encourage everyone to please share the link so that we're gonna be having a good day today. So share ko lang guys magbibigay lang ako sa inyo. I'm gonna be playing this video first and after that, I'm gonna be welcoming our guest for today. So this is our e-commerce program that you might be interested to enroll in. Did you know that a plan without a deadline is just a fantasy? Let's put a deadline to your dreams. Last year, when we were so busy watching Netflix Korean series Startup, Team Good Boy or Team Dusan, I was so busy dreaming about how can we bring that concept to the Philippines. The concept of producing entrepreneurs after attending an entire program. Real talk lang, 2020 is over and this year, we have to start something new. This 2021, I am bringing Sandbox to the Philippines. Not the show actually, but the concept of producing e-compreneurs. Central Colleges of the Philippines brings you how to start e-commerce business in 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, you will be mentored by the industry's top practitioners. Chester C. for drop shipping, Jason De La Rosa for reselling, Lars Paraguya, product sourcing, Hybe Ansures, Facebook and Shopify, Garrett Maralit, managing your business finances, Jay Hasminis, e-com growth hacking, Mike Ocon, Lazada and Shopee, and logistics, Nico Cruz, sales promise. Powerful, right? But sadly, this program is not for everyone. We are looking for people who are stubborn enough to fight for their dreams and be part of the first 100 e-compreneurs that we will produce. The program will run for 8 Saturdays starting April 10, 2021. The question now is, are you up for the challenge? Okay, so that's it. So now I would like to introduce my guest for today. He is the CEO and the man behind the game changer in e-commerce. Let's all welcome Mr. Mark Concho. Hello, Sir
Thank
Mark.
you, Eman. Yeah. Hi,
Ayan,
hi everybody. Good evening.
so I'm very excited for today because, we are hearing a lot from Biseli and we would like to know straight from you or what it is. But before that, sir, would like to welcome you to our show, Safe Space. This is for aspiring entrepreneurs and for those people who stopped during the pandemic and would like to continue with their path of becoming an entrepreneur. And speaking of path, sir, I would like to ask you first, uh, how did you start? Can you first introduce yourself to them, sir, to the viewers
Okay,
now?
so I'm Mark Concho. I'm the CEO of Reselly, co-founder, together with Jason De La Rosa and Lorraine. So yeah, so that's basically it. So I'm an entrepreneur also, and I'm excited also to share my experiences in Reselly with other aspiring and even current existing entrepreneurs out there watching.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So, let's get to our questions, sir. So, I would like to ask, how did you start doing business? Was there a specific moment in your life that pushed you to become an entrepreneur?
Well, actually, I wanted to be a priest before when I was still in school. Unfortunately, when I entered the seminary, the seminary director asked me if kung nagka-girlfriend na ako, if I already had a girlfriend. I said, no, father. So I said, okay, you go out first, you get yourself a girlfriend, and then once you experience having a girlfriend, if you want to come back, you're always welcome to come back to the seminary. Fortunately or fortunately, so nagka-girlfriend ako, I never went back. So, but at the back of my mind, so I've experienced after graduating from college, I put up my own business with my best friend called Bonsai. So I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur even from before. So we are doing pretty well. That is a Greenbelt. We had our first food stall in Greenbelt. So Bonsai is healthy fast food, one of the pioneers of
Mm,
healthy fast food 20 years ago. But after 2 years, we decided to enter the corporate world. So I went to PLDT, heading broadband, small medium business, content value added services for PLDT, marketing in digital sun cellular, product development. And then my last job was as head of e-commerce for Voyager
mm,
Innovations in Paymaya. And we had this project called Digistoria. So what's
mm,
Digistoria? Digistoria is actually very similar to Reselly. So, people can sell products without having to buy inventory. Similar to dropshipping, parang dropshipping siya.
mm,
Fortunately or unfortunately, again, Tencent and KKR invested into Voyager and Paymaya, and they decided to kill all the business units, which was
mm.
the e-commerce business unit, the fintech business unit, and the Martech, marketing tech business units of Voyager Innovation. So natira na lang yung Paymaya. So I was out of a job. Well, I had my redundancy pay. I was out of a job. So I said, baka this is time for me to set up an e-commerce business now. Kasi sayang naman yung Digisource. So nagpaalam ako sa boss ko, si Mr. Doivea, the co-founder of Smart, president of Voyager Payma, if I could revive or use Digisoria and put up my own business. And he said yes. So that's how Reselly was born.
So, Pizzeria is basically a 2-year company since it started on September 2019.
Yes,
Am I right, sir? But
that's
uh,
correct. Yes.
but my question to you, sir, is how was the start of reselling? I mean, is it easy, or since you have uh, a proven business model, uh, do you think it is an easy start, or how was the start of it, sir?
It wasn't easy, definitely, and Jason can also attest to that. But everything worth doing, is difficult. It's challenging, or else it's not worth doing to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, so me and Jason started it, the two of us. Of course, you need money to put up a business. I had a little savings, from my previous corporate experience, and then together with Jason, we were able to raise a little bit of funds. And then priority, of course, since we're a technology e-commerce company, we need to develop the platform. So we had to hire developers. So very crucial. One lesson we learned is you need to hire the right people. People
Right,
who
right.
not only share your vision in your company, but also have the dedication, the passion, and the expertise to be able to execute on that vision. So if you're a technology company, technology startup, crucial talaga is getting the right tech people, developers, CTO, and all of that. Kasi there's nothing to work with, kung wala kang platform or mobile app. In our case, a mobile app and e-commerce platform. Secondly, after that is, well, since we're a startup, just like with most startups out there, funding talaga. You always have to ensure that mahaba yung runway ninyo. So even before you start hiring, make sure you have enough financing and funding. So dapat you have to go, dapat mag roadshow kayo, you get investors, tap into your network, yeah, ensure you have at least 12 months funding to pay for yung payroll and everything para hindi kayo rin ma-stress. The last thing that you want to happen is you're so focused on fundraising later on that you don't have time anymore for growing your e-commerce startup, for marketing, for sales and business development.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, and then third also is of course prayers. I've had a lot of experiences in my life na sobrang impossible, financially with the business, and then we prayed and nasagot. So miraculously, so I can
Mm.
attest to that. Yeah, prayers work.
Definitely, sir. So, for those viewers out there who just nag-i-start pa lang, 'di ba? You have to get inspiration then from people. Katulad ngayon si Sir Mark. And anyway, sir, I'm just curious. Was it always your dream to become a businessman? Or you mentioned earlier that you originally wanted to become a priest. So, was it always
Yes.
a dream?
Well, since I married, already with kids, so I can't become a priest anymore, obviously. So the next best
Yes.
thing is to become a entrepreneur. I
Yes.
guess more important than a businessman's entrepreneur for me. Why? What's the appeal of being an entrepreneur? You're able to chart your own course, make a bigger
Mhm.
impact. You are your own boss. So that kind of lifestyle appeals to me. Yeah, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, the success of your business or your e-commerce startup in this case, you have control. Depende na rin on how hard you work, on how hard you hustle, on yung diskarte mo. Unlike in the corporate world, I've had 20 years experience working in the corporate world to a certain extent. Your destiny, your faith, your personal faith is also dictated by your own boss in the corporate world and by other factors like your what what business unit you're working on, whether you're in marketing, product development, sales, etc. So
Okay.
nakatali ka. I mean, you can't define yourself. You can't define your own aspiration. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong in the corporate world. For some people, they're very happy in that kind of environment. The advantages of being in the corporate world naman is yung security, di ba? That
Yes.
you will always have payroll, di ba? You'll always have a salary, and if you perform well, you get promoted and all that. So meron kang career path. Unlike
Yes.
in the entrepreneur world, being an entrepreneur, it's very unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen.
Definitely, sir.
Just like with the corona pandemic also that's happening now.
Definitely, sir. So, speaking of the coronavirus or the pandemic, uh, since I think your biggest break happened during the pandemic. But before that, what are your biggest takeaways from the pandemic? And you also mentioned that it's always been your passion to impact people. What made you push further with the goal of BCELI, sir? So, ano yung mga nakita
So
mo
I'll answer the first
during this
question
pandemic?
first.
Opo.
Okay, so
Yes,
key
go ahead.
takeaways. So I mentioned life is unpredictable. The only constant is God. No? So same thing with the pandemic. Nobody foresaw the pandemic. But then it creates also very big opportunities. The pandemic definitely is a big crisis. A lot of businesses, a lot of people were affected. More than 27 million Filipinos were either unemployed or underemployed. No? A lot of industries had to shut down or declined because of pandemic. But again, as the Chinese say, there's opportunity in crisis. And we were fortunate in the sense that one of the industries that was not affected is actually growing because of the pandemic is e-commerce on top of online. So timing, there was a study made. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the study. There's a study made in the US before. What are the 5 key factors? They studied 5 key variables or factors that contribute to the success of a startup or a business. And so they measured, is it the product, kung ganong kaganda yung product mo? Is it the people, behind the business, yung experience ng founders? Is it timing? Is it funding? Dapat kung maraming pera yung startup, yung magsasucceed yan. or is it marketing? So they measure those five things. Can you guess anong important among the five that contributes to the success of a startup?
I guess
And you'd be
timing.
surprised by the answer.
I
Timing.
guess
You got that.
the
You got the
timing.
answer right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read
Tama
that
yung
too
sagot mo.
before.
Anyway, it's really timing. So in this case, timing talaga for reselling. Because of the pandemic, a lot of people, the new normal is people are starting to shop more and more. People are starting to shop online, and more businesses, unlike before when we started reselling before the pandemic, when we'd approach mga merchants and SMEs to put their products in their platform, some of the answers most time they said, alam mo Mark, okay yan, pero happy na kami sa retail. We're happy selling in the mall. We're happy selling in Divisoria and Green Hills. Then all of a sudden now, it's much easier to get them to, ganun ba? Sige, perfect. Naghahanap kami ng e-commerce platform. So, yun, those are the key takeaways. Take advantage of the opportunities. You never know what's going to happen, but you need to be able to move fast, react fast, and that's one of the traits of a successful entrepreneur. You need to pivot your business quickly, be very nimble. So, those are some of
Yes.
my key takeaways. Then to your second question was
With
key
regards
takeaways in
to
the pandemic.
sir yung passion nyo in impacting people, did it push you to uh, yung parang i-improve pa yung reselling to help our countrymen which has around 27 million unemployment
Yeah,
or underemployment currently?
yes, definitely. Because as I mentioned, hindi na to yung pagiging pare ko. So I said the next best thing is to put up a business that will help other people, especially Filipinos. So tamang-tama, reselling, our tagline, one of our taglines is negosyo na, zero puhunan na negosyo. So a lot of
Oh,
Filipinos, they want to sell online, they want to have additional income, have livelihood. Kaya lang wala silang capital, walang puhunan, and they don't have the knowledge how to sell online. So with resell, we solve those pain points. Any Filipino can download their mobile app and sell thousands of products without having to buy inventory. By
yes.
simply sharing their reselling store to their friends on Facebook, Viber, WhatsApp, WeChat, Instagram, and then we take care of everything else.
And speaking of sharing, for those viewers out there, kindly share this stream because baka matulungan nyo yung mga tao na nasa newsfeed nyo of this opportunity that is very open to them. Okay, so ngayon sir, since in one of your interviews you said that you got the inspiration from, I don't know if I would what's the right pronunciation, but Pinduoduo,
Pinduoduo.
uh, Pinduoduo, okay, that
Yes.
made you want to replicate the success. Since like what you mentioned, laging crucial yung timing. For example, in the case of Alibaba, they were able to really grow after the uh, what you call this one, the SARS in 2003. And yung Pinduoduo, I don't know kung kailan sila nag-grow. Pero ang question ko sir is, uh, what did you see in that app or platform that made you want to replicate its success here in the Philippines?
Okay. Well, if you look at Pinduoduo, they launched in 2015. So just 5 years. They're just a 5-year-old company, startup. And imagine, in 5 years, they became, when they launched 5 years ago, pinagtawanan sila ng mga big e-commerce giants, like Alibaba, JD, Mayhow. How can you compete against Alibaba, which is a $500 billion company, di ba? And yet, in 5 years, they overtook all the big e-commerce companies in China, and they're now number two. And at the rate that they're growing, they might even become number one, overtake Alibaba and become number one in the next few years. So, anong ginawa ng Pinduoduo? How did they do that? Two things. They pioneered social e-commerce in China. And number two, they focused on fruits and vegetables. So let's discuss number one muna. Ano ba yung social e-commerce? What's the difference between social e-commerce and traditional e-commerce? So I'll give some examples. Yung traditional e-commerce, these are the Alibaba, Amazon. In the Philippines, it's Lazada and Shopee. Now, if you look at traditional e-commerce, we call it the marketplace model. This was started more than 20 years ago, 1990. Amazon was 1997, Alibaba 1999. So more than 20 years ago. So in a marketplace, you have a website or a mobile app, and then people go to that website or mobile app to shop. Ganon kasimple. At that time, okay yan. Very, timing na timing yan. Because in 1999, 2000, wala pang Facebook, wala pang social networks, wala pang
Yes.
social media, wala pang Facebook, wala pang Instagram, wala pang Twitter, wala pang WeChat, di ba? Naging uso lang naman sa Facebook in the Philippines 2007, I think 2000, 2006, 2007, di ba? Or 2008 pa nga. So, yung social e-commerce naman is taking advantage of yung social network ng isang tao. Yung Messenger, yung Facebook, yung WeChat, yung WhatsApp. So instead of going to a website or mobile app to shop, you go to the person's online store or yung site ng friend mo, kaibigan mo. So I'll go back to Pinduoduo. What they did was they did group buy. So ano yung group buy? So if you're in China kasi, walang Facebook or Messenger. Yung uso sa China is what you call WeChat. What's popular in China is what you call WeChat. So almost all Chinese use WeChat. So if I'm on WeChat, I can initiate a group buy. I can tell all my friends on WeChat, "Hey, you join me in my group group buy, and then we can get big discounts of fruits and vegetables, almost up to 80% discount." So syempre, all my friends, all your friends will join you sa group buy, so you can get the big discount. Now, maganda dyan is, remember, okay, konting trivia. Amazon took more than 15 years to become profitable. For 15 years, luging. Amazon was losing money because they'd spend so much on marketing. Same thing with Lazada. When Lazada launched 5, 6 years ago, they're spending so much money they were never profitable. That's why they had to get somebody to buy them, which was, in Lazada's case, Alibaba. So for marketplace model, you really have to spend a lot of money on marketing. And it's very hard to be profitable. In social e-commerce, the one who does the marketing are the members who join in social e-commerce. So you don't have to spend too much on marketing. Number two, maganda sa social e-commerce is this trust. You leverage on the trust and relationship of your members. So for example, Eman, let's say you're looking for a power bank. Naghahanap ka ng power bank. Okay. Then Jason is your friend, right? Jason De La Rosa.
Yes.
So si Jason went up to you, man, you buy naman my power bank. It's 500 pesos. Ito yung specs. So sinabi mo kay Jason, bro, Jason, teka muna, let me check Lazada and Shopee. You go to Lazada and Shopee, nakita mo, same price, same specs, 500 pesos, same price, same specs. Where will you buy that power bank? Will you buy it from Lazada, Shopee? Now, you don't know who the merchant is. Hindi mo kilala. Or will you buy it from your friend whom you trust and you have a relationship?
Of course, you would choose someone that you trust.
So that's the power of social e-commerce.
Okay.
Content trivia again. So we thought to ourselves, if Pinduoduo can become number 2 in China and overtake all the giants of e-commerce in China in less than 5 years without spending so much money, without spending billions, how much more in the Philippines? Philippines is number 1 in the world when it comes to social media usage. A average Filipino spends more than 4.5 hours a day on Facebook, on Messenger, on Instagram, on Twitter. So China, the Chinese person in China only spends 2 hours a day. So sabi namin, number 1 yung Pinoy sa paggamit ng social network, ng social media. If Pinduoduo was able to do that in China, mas lalong-lalong na dapat dito sa Pilipinas.
Yes.
So much more here in the Philippines wherein we're number 1. So I said, timing is very right. There's no social e-commerce company or startup yet in the Philippines. Reselling can be the first.
Yes.
And then the pandemic happened, which was even
Yes.
which helped even more.
And almost everyone now are selling something online. Parang there is
Yes.
a joke nga, parang wala nang buyer, lahat sellers na. Parang ganun yung mga joke online, whereas it's very exciting for e-commerce because now that we have a lot of players in the industry, the competition is getting higher and the product should be the quality of the products is getting higher as well. So win-win for the consumers, diba? So I'm very inspired by the story of Rizali. And now, nasa na po ba ang Rizali currently, sir? Did you launch already? How many resellers do you have already? Can you give us an update, sir?
Sure. Well, if you compare reselling versus other social e-commerce startups across Southeast Asia, kasi we can't compare, we're the only social e-commerce startup in the Philippines. We're actually the biggest in Southeast Asia in terms of number of resellers. Okay,
Oh,
so you just check Google Play Store, we already have more than 40,000 downloads. Our closest competitor, not competitor, but the closest, similar startup only has around 10, 20,000 downloads. So something to be proud of as a Filipino, as a proudly, we're number one as far as social e-commerce startups across Southeast Asia. We've signed a number of partnerships. So we've signed the biggest celebrity influencer in the Philippines, Idol, Rafi Tulfo.
perfect.
He's got more than 18 million followers. We're targeting to launch on his birthday. Okay, but sana, March 12. So we'll just wait for that announcement, which is already next week. We also signed up with a number of other celebrities. I won't mention their names muna. Some of the biggest celebrities in the Philippines, which we will also be launching after Sir Rafi. And then we've also signed with the Secretary Bautista of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, making resell the official livelihood partner of the Philippine government.
Wow.
We've signed and we are powering the marketplaces. We will be powering the mobile app marketplaces of Paymaya, so which has 20 million users, of RCBC, Union Bank, of many other celebrities as well. So we've signed with more than 50 mayors to provide free online livelihood to their citizens or constituents. So it's an easy. A lot of mayors are approaching us, not only because election na next year, but of course they want to help new constituents sila by providing
Yes.
zero puhunan, libreng livelihood online through Reselly's platform and mobile app. So I think we're doing okay.
Oh, sir, I just
Yes.
would like to congratulate you in advance. I mean, as early as now, I would like to congratulate you because grabe, maraming matutulungan ang resell. Okay,
Thank
maraming
you.
ma-impact na tao. So I just can't imagine how better our life is with resell. Truly the game changer in e-commerce. Okay, so
Salamat. Thank you.
meron akong mga tanong, sir, kasi may mga aspiring entrepreneurs tayo, perhaps they are interested as well or they're curious. How do you build the partnerships? Uh, talagang ano ba, sir? Paano po kayo what do you call this one? Nagbi-build ng partnerships? Since you mentioned a while ago, sobrang dami niyo na pong ka-partner. Can you give us some tips, sir, on how do you build partnerships with people?
Well, you leverage on your own immediate network, which is your family. I've been fortunate that my tita is Charo Santos Concho, Tita
Oo.
Charo. So she's in the entertainment, in the media, former president of ABS-CBN. So that helped. And then, of course, you leverage also on your friends, your close friends, like from school. And then I've had 20 years experience in the telco industry. So you leverage also on your networks in business in your previous experience. No? So that alone, I think, is a lot. And then, of course, my partners, my co-founders like Jason De Rosa, founder and ng Bounce Back, very extensive yung network ni Jason. So kay Jason pa lang, wala na, tapos na, di
Ang
ba?
dami na, sir. Tapos
So,
na.
yeah, dami na, kuha mo na lahat. So there, you start off with that first. And then once you've exhausted all your, have you heard of 7 degrees of separation? And once you've exhausted that, then you turn to social media, LinkedIn. You have to
Okay.
hustle, discard na yan. You go to LinkedIn to look for relevant, connections or partners. And then you also have to dapat magaling ka sa sariling PR. Magaling ka sa PR, sa marketing. You have to get people to get excited about your vision, your mission for your startup. And then you need to be able to promote it well. So we were lucky, we were able to get Dean Bernales, who's very good in PR, to help promote Reselly to investors, to VCs. So we were featured in TechCrunch, in Tech in Asia, in Yahoo Asia, in Esquire, and many other publications, media publications, thanks to him. And because of that, we were approached by a lot of big investors, not just in the Philippines, but around the world.
Wow. So it's truly something that we Filipinos should be proud of talaga, that social e-commerce is taking off medyo na-excite ako for the future of e-commerce. Kasi ako personally, sir, I'm doing this because I want to educate. Yun naman yung parang nasa calling ko. Kasi my dream has always been to provide jobs. Kaso, napansin ko, sir, sa sarili kong business, hindi naman kaya ko mag-hire ng maraming tao kagad. Diba? So, sabi ko, parang I got wisdom from the Lord na if I could educate 1, 2, 3 entrepreneurs to start their own, basically to teach them how to fish, then I could solve yung problem natin kahit papaano, kahit na isang kindat lang doon sa 27 million na unemployment. Talagang I'm really excited for e-commerce. Lalo na ngayon, ang daming papasok ang reselling, pataas ang reselling na platform. So for those of you who are looking for opportunities, ayan, nasa harapan niyo po ang opportunity, reselling. Ayan, you could check their website, their Facebook page, and they have a lot of exciting things na ilo-launch pa lang nila. So, I'm learning a lot from this interview. Guys, yung sa mga viewers natin, can you comment down below? What are the things that you are getting from this? Ayan, para talagang engaging tayo today. Okay, so, ito naman, sir, I just wanna, we talked about details about partnerships, about how you started. I just wanna ask naman, what are your non-negotiables as an entrepreneur? Yung something na hindi mo pwedeng maipagpalit. For example, sir, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, sorry, you were going to say example.
Example, sir, yung mga, okay, for family, hindi ko pwedeng pagpalit to. Or itong mga core values ko, never. Parang mga ganun. Ano yung mga non-negotiable mo, sir, as an entrepreneur?
Well, of course, God is number one. Then you have family. And then third would be your, integrity, core values such as integrity and Christ-centered life. Well, that's for me personally, trying to live a Christ-centered life. So those would be non-negotiables.
Yes. As an entrepreneur, minsan mahirap na siyang ma-follow kapag nandun na tayo sa mga pressured moments, right?
Yeah.
So, grabe, parang itong mga non-negotiables natin, guys, you have to set it as is. Na, okay, pag ganito.
And I'll tell you why they're non-negotiable. Yeah, I mean, business, being an entrepreneur, having a business, it's nice. But at the end of the day, pwede mag-fail yung business mo, pwede but your family will always be there. God will always be there. Your family will always be there. When you're dying, you're all going to die anyway. You want to look back and say you wish you spent more time in business. You always say, "Sonny, you spent more time with your family." That's with God. Pray.
Definitely. So it is a message. It's a clear message to every aspiring entrepreneurs. Now, once you get busy, you have to minsan you have to give time to things na hindi mo nabibigyan ng time. Kasi karamihan, for example, sir, ng families na common to, sir, lalo na kapag mga anak ng businessman, anak ng entrepreneur, usually kapag nireklamo nila yung time nila or yung time nila with their parents, time nila with family, na ngayon, ang tanong ko naman dyan, sir, given that you have a lot in your table, sir, ano naman yung ginagawa mo to balance everything? With your time with your family, yung sa time with the business, how do you balance it, sir?
Well, prioritization, you dapat very clear yung priorities mo. And then you allocate, that's number one. So you start your day with God and your family first before you go into business, before you deal with business matters. And then number two is developing good habits. Because sometimes out of the things that we do in life we're on autopilot, driven by habits. So some of us, I also have some bad habits. So, and those bad habits can be time wasters really. Every so often you check your Facebook, you check your Instagram, and then you end up spending 30 minutes there instead of working. So, developing good habits. Yes, I suggest there's a lot of resources out there on how to develop good habits. The Atomic Habits, The Power of Habits, etc. So, read those books and learn how to.
Sir, since you mentioned about family and you mentioned earlier that tita nyo po si Miss Charo Santos Concho, you know what, earlier I was I was watching the interview because I'm getting points from Miss Tony Gonzaga on how to do interviews. So sobrang na-inspire ako doon sa interview niya. So my question is, sir, do you get tips from Miss Charo in handling people or in handling business? And if not naman, what are the things that you learned from her?
Well, I asked her once during a family reunion. I was working in Sun Cellular at that time, Digital Sun Cellular. So if she could give me advice. So I was vice president for product development and marketing at that time. So sabi niya, Mark, you'll realize the higher you go up the corporate ladder, the more you will realize that it's not about nababawasan yung skills, your expertise and skills, and it becomes more about handling people. People skills ang
Mm,
important. So by the time at you're at the top, it's 90% people skills and then 10% like expertise. So the advice she gave me was develop your people skills, know how to inspire people, know how to get them, get the most out of them, the best out of them, bring out the best out of them.
In
And I
fairness, sir,
guess that applies to being an entrepreneur as well.
uh, parang ngayon ko lang siya narinig. Something new to me now. Kasi I thought all the while na kapag nagli-lead ka, dapat ikaw yung pinaka-expert on these things. Dapat you have to sound like you are in control and all. Pero 90% pala, you have to inspire the people that is under you. Because wherever we are heading, our entire organization is uh, parang dala natin yung inter-organization, sir.
Yes.
And, uh, sir, syempre itong tanong na to, ano to, sir, parang automatic meron na to. Parang, of course, in your entire career, you have experienced failure. What are I would not ask what are your failures, but what is the most important lessons that you have learned from a failure that you want to share with us today?
Well, I'll mention this only because I mentioned I want to be a priest before. If you look at failures as learnings, on the spiritual level, as something that will bring you closer to God.
Yeah.
If you try to look at failure, see how did this bring me closer to God? Let's say you have challenges in life, you're suffering in life. Let's say because of pandemic, whatever, you lost your job. How do you see it as a way that this challenge, this suffering is bringing you closer to Jesus and to your God? Then it doesn't become a failure. It becomes not just a lesson, but an instrument of God to bring you closer to Him. If you look at it that way. Second lesson there is life. That's reality of life. We'll really experience failures, but the most important thing is, and I'll share. My mom passed away when I was a teenager, and the last birthday gift she gave me was a birthday card, and nakasulat sa birthday card, fall 6 times, ancient Japanese proverb, fall 6 times, rise 7 times. So what does it mean? Never give up. When you experience failures, the kind of failures that bring you down, you persevere. You always find a way to rise up again. Not to give up on it or become a better person because of it.
Definitely.
So with that kind of mindset, then nothing really can be defined as a failure because it
Yeah.
makes you a better person. It brings you closer to God. So the takeaway there is it's all about perspective and mindset on how you see failure and how you react to it.
Yes, definitely. So, like what Giselle is seeing now, the opportunities of social e-commerce. Sir. So, question, sir, who do you look up to? Who are the people in your life that you look up to and you get inspiration from? Who are your
Well,
mentors?
my dad, because my dad also wanted to be a priest before. So he graduated from he studied in Harvard and then graduated from Berkeley, UCLA Berkeley, architecture. So he could have been very successful, but he decided to come back in the Philippines and become a teacher in UST, teach art because he wanted to give back. So, yun. So, because he became a teacher, syempre, sweldo ng isang teacher is not that much. So, I remember we lived in a very small apartment, in Malabon. May nag-leak pa yung roof. So very humble. Ano. So my dad is a very humble person. Uh, he was also very spiritual, and that's probably what inspired me to. That's what inspired me to want to become a priest also. And he was a workaholic, as in I could see how he'd work very hard to make sure that the family was provided for, and that he could send us to good schools. And that's hard to do on a teacher's salary, but we never felt as if we wanted for anything. So I guess I look up to my dad as my mentor.
Wow, that's the very nice story, sir. So, what is your dream naman for the Philippines, sir? What is your personal dream for the country in the next few years? What do you want to see in our country?
Well, the sad reality is the Philippines is there's still a lot of poor people who live below the poverty line. I'll give another story. God as the baker. I don't know if you've heard this story. Okay, what is God? So God, during creation, so he decided to bake. And then when he baked, so he said, okay, he created the earth. So he wanted to create mga human beings. So yung human beings, he put the flour into the oven. Paglabas, ano siya? It wasn't cooked well. Puti. And that's how the Europeans were born, yung Americans and Europeans. Maputi, di ba? Kasi undercooked. Di na-bake ng ano. So he said, nako, I made a mistake. So I will try again. So he put the flour back into the oven. Paglabas, overcooked naman. Itim. Black. And that's how the black people were born. So I said, okay, last try. He put the flour, he put another batch of flour inside the oven. And then brown, perfect brown, perfectly cooked. And that's how Asians, like Filipinos, were created. The number two, if you look at the Philippines, we're so blessed as a country. Imagine we have all these natural resources. Other countries don't have access to water. Middle East desert. Other countries ice. Winter. Yung weather natin sa Philippines is perfect, temperate, not too cold, not too hot. Our soil is very rich. So we're a very rich country. We're blessed in natural resources, and yet we're a relatively poor country. I mean, a lot of Filipinos are still living in poverty. So what's my dream for the Philippines? Sana talaga we become a first world country wherein no Filipino has to experience poverty, the kind of poverty wherein you don't have enough food to eat, or you cannot even talagang yung biggest problem mo is where will I get food to eat for today. So yan yung wish ko for the Philippines. And
Wow,
sana we're able to recover from this pandemic. Our economy was growing very fast. We were one of the fastest growing economies before the pandemic, but unfortunately, because of the pandemic, our economy was hit very badly. In fact, in terms of impact to our economy, we're one of the worst hit economies in the world. We have one of the most strictest lockdowns and extended lockdowns also. So I'm hoping that we are praying that we recover quickly as a nation and bounce back. Kumbaga, sabi
yes,
ni Jason.
sabi ni Sir Jason there. I'm very excited for what's next for the Philippines. You know what, sir? We are about to end the program, but I would like to ask more about your partnership with Idol Shopping Network. So, since you mentioned a while ago na you are in partnership with ISN, sir, can you tell us something about it, and what are we going to expect from the partnership?
Well, it's really, ISN really is Sir Rafi Tulfo's project and startup. So resell stores were just the technology and platform provider, the e-commerce platform and mobile app provider for ISN. So all the marketing, all the positioning, even the products that we replace in ISN, that's a call of Sir Rafi and his team. We're here to support him in terms of logistics, in terms of technology, in terms of providing the development. Yan yung role ng resell.
Okay, so that's very exciting, sir. So with that, I would like to thank you, sir, for being with us today sa ating safe space, and I hope that you enjoyed, sir. But I would like to give you now time, sir, to promote anything or to give a message to our aspiring entrepreneurs?
The message for aspiring entrepreneurs is, I'm sure all of you out there, you have a vision for yourselves. That's why you want to become entrepreneurs to begin with. So do a lot of research. Make sure that your product has product market fit. Your company, your vision, or your concept has product market fit. And the best way to do that is by doing market research and validating it, and by small MVPs or minimum viable products before you go big time, before you give up your corporate career or go spend a lot of money on it. Okay, do an MVP first. Second is pray. Don't forget to pray. I believe in the power of prayer. And then third, for reselling naman, for all Filipinos out there, if you want to, to be able to sell online with zero puhunan needed, just download the Resell app on Google Play or iOS. And then with zero capital needed, you can sell thousands of products for free. For SMEs out there who want to have your products sold by our resellers, thousands of resellers, just visit our website and then you can apply to have your products and placed in our mobile app. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And again, good night po. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so for the next part of the program, we would be having our ambagan. So by the ambagan, pag-uusapan natin yung mga natutunan natin kay sir. So with that, goodbye muna tayo kay sir. Hello, thank you so
Thank you
much.
also, Eman. Salamat. Maraming salamat.
Salamat, sir. Maraming salamat.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. Grabe, ang dami ko natutunan kay Sir Mark Concho. If you have a dream for the country, grabe, ganun yung doon na, paano ba i-put into words to? I just love how Sir Mark loves the country. Feeling ko parang nakuha niya talaga yun from his dad, being his dad as a mentor. Talagang yung pagmamahal sa bayan at yung pagmamahal na sa bayan talagang nakita naman natin sa interview, narinig naman sa interview kanina that he really has a dream for the country na yung 27 million na unemployed and underemployed would be having an opportunity through reselling. And I pray na talagang yung mga tao na nawawalan ng pag-asa currently. There are a lot of platforms out there that you could try. Na katulad nito, alam mo, yung every time na nag-start yung platform, sobrang mas magandang to journey with them. Kasi if you start with them, definitely you would go with them sa pag-akat nila. Ako personally, as an entrepreneur, minsan yun yung mga regrets ko. Sana sumabay ako sa start ng ganito. Sana sumabay ako sa start ng ganyan. Now that reselling is starting, talagang let's be with them. Let's be with their journey. Talagang mag-resell tayo ng products. Ganyan. And marami tayong time for Facebook, for other platforms. Why don't we make it productive? Diba? Your most valuable asset is your time. And what you do with it is something that you should think about. Okay? And it requires talaga wisdom from the Lord in order for us to really be wise with the use of our time. Okay, at the end of the day, all of us have the same 24 hours. Okay, the same number of minutes, the same number of seconds. What we do with it matters. So there are other people who are more successful than we are, or they were able to achieve their goals than we do because they use their time wisely. So I hope that as viewers or as aspiring entrepreneurs, talagang let's make this time to really learn and to really reflect on our ways. So that's it for our episode today. So I'm excited that everyone has learned something. Okay, so before that, I'm gonna play this video and we're going out already. Did you know that a plan without a deadline is just a fantasy? Let's put a deadline to your dreams. Last year, when we were so busy watching Netflix Korean series Startup, Team Good Boy or Team Dusan? I was so busy dreaming about how can we bring that concept to the Philippines. The concept of producing entrepreneurs after attending an entire program. Real talk lang, 2020 is over and this year, we have to start something new. This 2021, I am bringing Sandbox to the Philippines. Not the show actually, but the concept of producing e-compreneurs. Central Colleges of the Philippines brings you how to start e-commerce business in 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, you will be mentored by the industry's top practitioners. Chester C. for drop shipping. Jason De La Rosa for reselling. Lars Paraguya, product sourcing. Hybe Ansures, Facebook and Shopify. Garrett Maralit, managing your business finances. Jay Hasminis, e-com growth hacking. Mike Ocon, Lazada and Shopee and logistics. Nico Cruz, sales promise. Powerful, right? But sadly, this program is not for everyone. We are looking for people who are stubborn enough to fight for their dreams and be part of the first 100 e-compreneurs that we will produce. The program will run for 8 Saturdays starting April 10, 2021. The question now is, are you up for the challenge?